Welcome to the Verde and Verdict Sports Show. I'm your host, Jacob Verde. It's Friday. Take a deep breath, relax. Got the weekend on the way. Got some LSU sports news for you. Not just football. We got the whole damn sports outlook. Every single game that's happening today. I'm going to break it down for you. Talk about some women's basketball, some LSU baseball. We got beach volleyball. We got golf. We got tennis, whole 9 yards. Drop a comment, drop a like, drop a subscribe so you don't miss any more of the latest LSU updates. Without further ado, let's hop right into this show. As per usual, live on YouTube, live on Facebook, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. at Don't Change. What does change? LSU's national championship chances. Got all of them all the time. Spring, I think, is really your best chance here. Let me give you a what's on tap preview for LSU sports today. As of right now, women's golf is competing in the Clemson Invitational. This is day one at 10:30. You'll have a track and field contest, Battle on the Bayou, day one. Then you'll have a beach volleyball contest, LSU versus USC. USC is the number 4 beach volleyball team in the country. So shout out at noon. Swim and dive in NCAA championships, day 3. 2 o'clock women's tennis, LSU versus Vandy. 2:15 beach volleyball. Again, they play another UC school. It's UCLA. 5 o'clock softball plays South Carolina. 6:30 baseball plays Mississippi State. And at 6:30, women's basketball is playing in the Sweet 16 versus North Carolina State. We're going to end it off at 8:30 with another beach volleyball game. They're going to be playing Long Beach. So that's your LSU sports. What's on tap for the week? Let's move into these baseball and women's basketball predictions. Everybody wants to talk about the spring sports. If you got any questions, comments, or anything that you want to add to this conversation, drop it in the comments. We'll put it in the stream. But last night, LSU erased a 6-2 deficit, got an 8-6 win over Mississippi State, and moved to 5-2 in the SEC, 24-3 overall. Wasn't the easiest victory, though, obviously. If you watched the game, you saw the 5th inning, absolutely just monster hits, 5 runs. If you look at it, off the bats, Daniel Dickinson, shout out to him, 3-run homer. Monster Milam had a 2-run blast. It's a little bit of an interesting moment. Coach Jay Johnson obviously going to do his coach speak moment and say, yeah, I'm praising the team. They had no panic. They had resilience. And that's true. I mean, they did respond in the face of adversity. However, I will point out that LSU is going to have to start being a little more proactive in the beginning if they want to be in the College World Series, if they want to make it to Omaha. We can't have these end of the game heroic runs anymore. I mean, it's great, it's fun, it's entertaining, but at the end of the day, we do want to see them get a nice victory. Hopefully they can do that tonight at 6:30. Don't make us hold our breath the whole time and go on a crazy run at the end of the game. I do think you're in a pretty good spot, though. You got good bats. Your pitching depth. I mean, you're getting to learn if you can trust Kate Anderson, if you can trust Cowan. You can get to pretty much look at your whole entire lineup in moments like this. LSU baseball, though. Good luck tonight, Mississippi State, 6:30. Tune in at the box. Women's basketball, Sweet 16, tip-off. This is a game where I think, quite frankly, I'll be optimistic. Because there's been a lot of times I've been pessimistic for LSU women's basketball. And I'm not even going to call it pessimistic. I'm just going to call it realistic because I feel like there has been a lot of worries. I mean, you've had injuries, you've had rotational concerns, you've had losses pile and pile and pile. But at this point, they're playing their best basketball yet. Now it's time to give credit where credit is due. You scored back-to-back 100-plus point games. That's insane. You set a team record with 29 assists versus Florida State. That's insane. We were all talking about shot efficiency, taking smarter looks, moving the ball around, point guard efficiency, less turnovers. All these things we're poking at, and they answered it. They were able to do it, and they were able to, honestly, get that front court locked in as well. We wanted Samaya Smith to get a little more active, and then she came in here with a damn 20-10-5 line. Her and Anissa Morrow shared that. It's the first front court duo ever to have a 20-10-5 line together. And then how about Michaela Williams? That's who we got to give the most flowers to for this March Madness run. Michaela Williams, number 12, MK12, whatever you want to call her, baller, absolute baller. 28 on 10 of 12 shooting. And hell, LSU as a team shot their season high, 56% versus Florida State. That's the efficiency that you need in March. If you had to pick a time where you're hitting the stride, hitting the momentum, and everything's going right, it's going to be in March when you're in the damn bracket. It's not going to be in the SEC tournament. It's not going to be when conference play opens up. It's none of those things. It is right now when you're trying to chase that damn trophy. And I think that they're hitting their stride. It's one of those moments where you're just hoping everybody can stay healthy, hoping everything can continue to add up. This is a matchup, though, that I think favors LSU, and not just because they won. They played in November, and LSU beat them by 17. Kim Mulkey's been, kind of talking about the matchup, and she obviously has credited both teams for growth, both teams for losing and learning and developing and ultimately being an entirely different squad, right? I do want to point out a common theme I've noticed with NC State, and I'm not going to discredit anybody, and I'm not going to make it kind of like an underrated element to this, but I do think that since NC State has lost all their losses, every single loss has been to a tournament team. It's not saying that that's a bad thing. I mean, that's a competitive game. It's probably a ranked opponent. It's probably one of the top teams in the country. But when they play top competition, more often than not, it don't work out. It's not a theme, and it's not one of those things that I'm going to bank on happening just because a trend is saying it. But if LSU's playing their most efficient, best basketball, already has one under their belt on this team, has a plethora of film to be able to watch, yeah, sure, NC State might have changed, but as to Malky's point, I think both teams did. I think both teams have transformed into a point where you're in a situation where LSU could potentially throw something new at you, or they could just stick to the same old, same old. I mean, you might not be able to just rely on the old game film when you got boat raced by 17 at LSU. You might have enough of a change in the rotation for the Tigers to be able to make some type of confusion, some type of a different translation. At that point in the season, I think there was a main focus on Flau'jae and Anise, and as we get to the end of the year and they start getting hurt and banged up, you see a lot of other people stand up, whether it be Miracle Shepard, Caitlin Gilbert, as we said, Michaela Williams, now Samaya Smith. There's a lot of other names that can be focused on here in this contest. I think LSU gets out the Sweet 16. I think it gets a little tougher. I think you're going to have to potentially play UCLA or Ole Miss to finish out the Spokane region in the Elite Eight and push to the Final Four. But hey, if that happens, things will get interesting. We might even cover it. We might even head down to Cleveland to see that Final Four. I ain't gonna lie. Drop your picks, your predictions. You think LSU women's basketball is making it out unscathed in the Sweet 16? Third straight Sweet 16, but can they make it out? Let's talk Pro Day, everybody. Everybody saw the highlights, the coverage, the winners, the hypothetical losers. I got my biggest winner. I know who the biggest stock boost was. And if you didn't know, now you know, Josh Williams, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, he didn't get invited to the combine. He didn't have the traditional Senior Bowl and all these different moments to show off his skills and showcase all these, talents that we at LSU knew he had. But you get a pro day. You get to go in your football ops building around people you're comfortable with, probably even get to practice the damn drills here and there. But you get to be in your element and say, all right, y'all gonna count me out. Y'all gonna say I'm too this, too small, too slow, too whatever. Cool. Sit back and watch. And we had a lot to watch. Let's start with the 40-yard dash. 4.45. That was probably the moment where everybody really started, okay, Josh Williams is a hitter. It started with the vertical. 42 inches. 42 inches. Let me just put this into perspective. First off, he's 5'9". Second off, 42 inches is 6 inches off of damn 4 feet off the ground. That would have been the third highest vertical by any running back at any NFL combine being measured in history, in totality. This year, it would have been second. To put that into perspective, sure, maybe he has the undersized tag. Sure, maybe there's other things that you can say about Josh Williams, but what you can't discredit is that dog, the dog in him, the athleticism, jumping out the gym, running a blitz at fast 40. Shuttles were fantastic. Drills were fantastic. I think he did 23 damn reps on a bench press. 225, 23 reps as a unit. Have fun tackling him because one, you ain't catching him. Two, he's probably going to plant his foot in the ground and make you miss. Three, if you try to wrap up, you might lose both your damn arms. Josh Williams made some money on Wednesday. You put yourself in a situation where, quite frankly, going into this day, I mean, yeah, you had people saying this was a steal and that he should be a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick. Now, if I'm an NFL team and I'm in the 4th round, shit, I'm in the 3rd round and I need a running back, and I've already got the 1st and 2nd round out of the way, I'm taking the flyer. I think Josh Williams is worth that much. And I think this pro day got to show a good bit. It got to pretty much put him in the mix and in the eyes of everybody because there was a lot of attention here on this pro day. Let's move on to the next side. Kyron Lacey. If we want to talk about attention, this is where the attention was focused the most. Another one of the players that didn't have a combine invite, didn't do the Senior Bowl, has some off the field questions going on right now. Everybody wanted to know how Kyron Lacy would perform. And we were talking with G about it and the 40 and all these different things that we wanted to see. And there was a question around the 40. You got some people saying 4.5. You got some people saying 4.6. LSUsports.net put out their official time, and it was at 4.6. Naturally, that is not bad, not a horrible 40, but it's not the 40 that you needed to be able to solidify, yeah, I'm still that first, second round talent. The vertical 33.5 inches, that's the official measure. Wasn't a horrible pro day, though. I don't think the speed questions were answered. I do think you got enough film on him to be able to kind of have a similar approach like Will Campbell, where Will Campbell was getting criticized for the arm length, right? And then he's saying, well, I got 3 years of film. You can go ahead and back up and see if the arm length and if that half inch or that inch mattered. Kyron Lacy could be in a similar spot. You know, the speed on a 40 compared to you being in front of a DB, shaking him, moving him, and creating space are definitely two different skills. And definitely two different skills that I think scouts are going to be able to identify. The 40-yard dash was not exactly what you wanted it to be, but I still think he has the potential to be a day 3 pick. Day 2 obviously could be in his cards. I do think, though, that the interview process and all these different off-the-field issues are going to make it a little more cloudy. But I do want to point out there are some studs in the NFL draft combine history that have come through, not done the best at the 40, and still had a great career. One of the more interesting times that I saw was Larry Fitzgerald running a damn 4.7, and he was still able to put out a good career. So your blitz and fast 40 time can help you get in the door, but once you're in the door, you're going to have to do some other things to keep yourself there. And I think Kyron Lacy does have a bag to be able to make it worth taking a shot on him. And if somebody grabs him with a 3rd, 4th, 5th round pick, they're going to be getting a good talent. They're going to be getting a steal. They're going to be getting somebody that I think could be a benefit to their team. Like I said, though, there are going to be some question marks, and now I think you do add a question mark with the speed a little bit with the 40, because everybody's going to nitpick something. We always talk about the combine. Is it worth it? Is it this? Is it that? It's a valid question because you open the door to opportunities like this for small moments where a 10th or, even a couple tenths of a second are going to potentially cost you an opportunity here. So I don't think he had a horrible pro day, like I said, but the 40-yard dash was definitely something I wanted to address because it was a toss-up. You had a lot of people saying 4.46, 4.49, then boom, LSUsports.net comes out with their table. And I thought that was a little interesting after it was, officialized, whatever the case may be. But that's the interesting part about the damn pro day, right? Just sitting here, not calling the times on the mic. Everybody kind of just waiting. The scouts are doing their times. Media's doing their times. Everybody's just kind of flying around saying what they think it was. And then I do think that there would be a benefit to being able to actually have a laser time officially announced so nobody can go out and say it's this or I think it's this. Or I think one clear-cut time is it'd be more beneficial across the board. Let's do more of a pro day recap, though. I got a couple other people that stood out. Both start with an M, ironically enough. Major Burns. I'll start with him. The 40 was absolutely cracked. 4.51 vertical, 37.5 inches, very fast, showed off the skills, showed off the speed. A lot of people are going to be internet experts here with the safety play. Naturally, the LSU safety play wasn't great, wasn't elite, wasn't exceptional, but I do think Major Burns, not only is he a great asset to a defense, not only does he have a great IQ, but I think his communicative ability or his locker room buy-in, I think that's the aspect that an NFL team is going to gain. I think that, not everybody has to be the player that's going to do everything, that's going to cover 40 yards in this blinking eye of a second, or going to be able to, do damn 30 reps on the bench press. But if you can bring a role to professional sports that you can do better than everybody in that room, they will lock you in on that role. It's not necessarily a jack of all trades, pure athlete. I'm LeBron James dribbling, shooting, passing, and defending. Sometimes, I know this is an odd comparison, we're just going damn NFL to NBA here, but sometimes you just want to get a dude that can spot up in the corner and shoot a 3. Sometimes in the NFL, you got role players that can be able to provide a good, skill or just be an asset to someone. And I think Major Burns is a big asset to the defense. I have never met anybody that played with Major Burns that had something bad to say. Everybody loves him. He's a good locker room piece, gets the energy up. I love the story of a long time ago. I don't know what GM said it. Another one of those crazy left field tangents I'm about to go on, but they said that, why aren't you drafting this player? He's the best player on the board. And they were talking about how this player is going to potentially make other people around him distracted and bring them out and all these different things. And they drafted a player that someone thought wasn't as good, but he was the guy that's going to keep everyone on the same page and get them, tapped in the mindset. It's not always about X's and O's. Sometimes it is about culture. Sometimes it is about getting everybody to buy in together. Major Burns is a major buy-in type of guy. I like him. I think he's a good asset in the locker room, great teammate. He's a great athlete too. Running the damn 4.5 40 as a safety. Come on, you're gonna find yourself a team real quick. I think his stock went all the way up. Let's talk about Mason Taylor. Shoo. Now, Mason Taylor running a 4.65. Now that's completely different. That's a tight end. That's 220, 230 plus pounds. That's somebody I think that completely made his case for being the best tight end in the damn draft. I'll simply say it. He's strong. He's smart. He's speedy. He got the damn catch radius of, honestly, like Robert Gronkowski. Shout out Gronk, because I'm going to make an interesting comparison here. And then his bench press was insane as well. 28 damn reps. Didn't do the vertical. But Mason Taylor, I mean, let's dial it back to the gauntlet drill that we saw at the NFL Combine. He's like that. No LSU fans needs to be convinced that Mason Taylor is a valuable pick in the draft. I'm very shocked that he didn't have a first round grade. I'd imagine the second round we'll see him get taken very, very shortly. Who didn't perform? Obviously, Will Campbell didn't do anything but measured. His arm length grew and went to 33 inches, but like what we were saying earlier, I just don't know how much that matters. How much does that extra half to inch matter when Will Campbell's running a 4.98 40 and he's been playing SEC ball since his freshman year? Naturally, yeah, you want to have the biggest wingspan, and I'm sure it's going to help out. But if he had other questions, speed, overall athleticism, any type of other question mark, then I would be like, okay, I can understand why they're nitpicking. But no, this is one of those instances where the combine just, it proves to be a nitpick fest. Braden Swinson did not compete. Emory Jones did not compete. And at times, Zy Alexander did not either. No jumps, no runs, just drills. Did Indies, the positional work. I really wanted to see Zy Alexander run a 40. I was shocked when he didn't run the 40. I don't know if he was hurt. I don't know what happened. If he just was like, I'm going to keep my time at the combine. If he somehow made it a little bit faster, I think his stock completely flipped, tumbled, and jumped. Other info, Greg Penn, I think, had a really good day. If you looked at the drills, the shuttles, and just how he was reacting, I think he played really good in coverage. And everybody's going to argue with me here because he ran a, 4.78? That's a horrible 40. I know. That's slow. People are worried about him in coverage. I thought the way he was flipping his hips, his footwork, the whole backpedaling drill, he was the only damn one high point for the beginning of the drill. He's got the tendencies to be able to be an asset for a team in coverage. I don't think the speed is going to kill Greg Penn. I think he's one of those other smarter players. My favorite story about Greg Penn, that it kind of just exemplifies exactly how much of a player he is. When Whit Weeks had his, breakout season his freshman year, when he was number 40 and everybody's in love with the red hot blazing blitzing Weeks brother. We did an interview with Whit during the media availability that season, and he was crediting, not necessarily entirely, but he was saying that Greg Penn is such a good leader and such a good veteran to play around, because when he didn't know what to do, where to be, or, what kind of player coverage they were in, Greg Penn sitting there helping him out and telling him what to do. And I'm not saying that Greg Penn made everybody better. I'm just saying that's a position where you're the quarterback of the defense. He has played a critical role for LSU through these last few years. Obviously, LSU's defense isn't elite. It's not number one, but it had its moments. And I think that Greg Penn, in that role, wearing that mic, called a player headset and all this stuff, communicating with Blake Baker, that's going to be the moments that makes him a valuable pick. You don't get number 18 at LSU for no damn reason. And then shout out Josh Williams. We got Devin Johnson in the chat saying, had no idea Josh Williams was Jack Greek guy. Talk about, bro. I'm gonna put the damn photo back up, bro. This is like the Omar Space situation. Dude coming out here looking like he did nothing but lift for 2 months. Shout out Josh Williams. The grind, it paid off. Job not finished, though. Keep grinding, because when that draft day comes, I do think your name will get called. I think it'll get called a lot earlier than people are going to give you credit for it, too. Let's look at some damn practice highlights, everybody. Let's put them up on the screen. Let me mute this so it doesn't go right over my voice. This is a starting offensive line rotation group for the ones. You got Tyree Adams at left tackle, Paul Mubinga at left guard, DJ Chester at center, Cohen Eccles at right guard, and Wesson Davis at right tackle. Your wide receiver lineups for the first rotation: Zay Thomas, Chris Hilton, Aaron Anderson, and obviously at tight end, Big Trudez Green. Nothing has changed. These have been your ones. Naturally, you kind of are seeing some people get plugged and played in between, but not much has changed. I don't know how close we are to being finalized either. I think we're still editing in this process. And I think, right now we're just kind of getting to see flashes of the offense, who they're favoriting towards, what kind of schemes they're doing. Right now, your vertical threat, it's Chris Hilton. And the reason why I think it's Chris Hilton, yeah, he's not the tallest, but he's damn near the fastest. And we didn't get to see him in his true element all season long. Obviously, he's hurt. Obviously, he's banged up. And, do think this year, if he's 100%, we can see what we saw in that bowl game or through the last few weeks of the season where he's catching a few of them and he's going damn near 60 yards down the field for any of them. Look at Trudez Green right here. This was obviously one that you want back, but that's another one of those assets. If you can just keep those two on the field at the same time, Chris and Trudez, those are going to be your vertical threats that you look for. Yeah, you don't got the 6'4", 6'5" pieces in the wide receiver room, but you do have somebody that can pretty much clear out over anybody. I think it'll be interesting. Offensive line 2 group. Josh Thompson at left tackle. Ori Williams at left guard. Center, Braylon Moore. Then you at right guard, you got Bo Bordelon. And at right tackle, Ethan Callaway. I don't know, once again, where they're going to be potentially plugging and playing any of these guys. If they move them around, I'd have to guess Braylon Moore could find his rotation in the ones potentially at the center spot. And if he didn't get in, maybe he's plugged and play at a guard. Same thing for Josh Thompson. They're using him at tackle. But if he doesn't fit in, and if Tyree and Weston lock that in, I could see him getting plugged in at a guard spot as well. For the wide receiver rotations for the twos, it's Nick Anderson, Kyle Parker, and Barian Brown. The tight end is Byron Sharp. I'm enjoying the way that they're incorporating these mixes. If you're looking at your first 6 wideouts, it looks like everybody's got a clear role for this season. We'll get to that a little later, but I do think that LSU's wide receiver room, as you shake up through spring, you really are getting to see who are going to be the main guys, who are going to be the guys that are LSU's building off for the future. And then obviously, we're worrying about transfer portal over here because it's about to open and we're not going to pretend like it ain't a damn worry. Let's talk about the third group. This is a little weird spot. I think this is 10 people on the field. Look, let's try to figure it out here. I could be wrong, but you got Kylan Billiard on the left. Read the offensive line. You got 4 people because Donovan Green was at right tackle before he did this motion. I might have backed it up a little too much. See Donovan Green right here at right. So there's your 5 offensive linemen. So 5, quarterback, running back, 7. You got Kylan Billiard right here at 8. But when Donovan rolls out, we still got 8, right? There's only 2 people out there. Destin Hill and Javon Nicholas. There was 10 people on the field for this rep, and I didn't think anybody really pointed it out. They were missing one damn person. I don't understand. Hopefully they can figure that one out. But Javon Nicholas, I think he could be an interesting asset. He's one of those underrated names. I do think he's got a lot of talent. I just wonder if he's going to be able to wait for his turn because there's a lot of people ahead of him. I mean, from Jelani Watkins to Teron Francis, potentially Kylan Billiard. There's a lot of names that you can throw into the mix here. Plus, you just got 2 4-stars or 3 4-stars and then the number 1 wide receiver in the country. I mean, you going to constantly have competition here at LSU in the wide receiver room. I think it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as it goes. For Juwan Johnson, I do think he's getting a little more comfortable in the scheme. I mean, you got your moments. You saw the overthrow a couple throws ago to Kylan Billiard, but it happens. You're young. You're going through a new position change. I don't want to, hold him to having to be perfect, and every single time he throws a damn ball, it's got to be a dot on a rope, not missing. I think Juwan Johnson's going to be more of a gadget piece, more of a creative piece, more of a piece that you watch run the ball rather than throw the ball. I think that's where he performs best. I don't think there is a legitimate concern for him to play quarterback in terms of if Nuss gets hurt. I think it's clearly Michael Van Buren. The thing is, if Michael Van Buren gets hurt, then what do you do? And that's probably why he's in this situation. Running back room looks damn good. You got Josh Williams over here in the back trying to, prep the future of LSU. It's always good to see some people return like that, especially a day after balling out at the pro day. Shout out to him. Harlem Berry. I do think he needs to get a little cleaner on the footwork right here. It's nothing bad. It's a little slow. But, you got other people, too, in this room. Obviously, Caden Durham and Caleb Jackson are going to lead it. But I think when JT Lindsey comes in, he could fight for some playing time. They got other running backs that are potentially, turning heads here at camp. But this room is so damn deep, and Caden Durham is so damn talented that I think he is going to take most of the reps. I'm not going to lie to you. But look, the running back room, their success is going to be directly tied to this offensive line. How can Brad Davis get a concoction, a lineup, a rotation out there that is perfectly seamless if they haven't played? I mean, you lost 4 of your 5 offensive linemen. If you're good at fractions, that's 80%, coach. 80% of your offensive line is going to play football on Sundays, and now you're going back to the drawing board trying to piece together something to protect Garrett Nussmeier. If you can protect Garrett Nussmeier and somehow create a running game, I don't even want to say that doubles the production of last year because that's crazy, but just give me 50% more production. Just go from damn near the worst in the SEC to top 10. And I think you have a night and day situation. And then you're going to be able to 100% lean on the wide receivers in this spot too, because you got a lot of, like I said, I think that the roles are getting clear here. You're starting to see exactly where people are fitting in. Aaron Anderson, Chris Hilton, Xavier Thomas, probably the top 3 guys that they're trusting. And then I think they're going to mix in Barian Brown, Kyle Parker, and Nick Anderson. That's the top 6, if I had to guess. Everybody's got, different roles, different abilities. I think Nick Anderson's obviously your tall, deep threat. Chris is your speedy guy. Zay Thomas is the guy that'll line up out the backfield. Barian Brown will probably play in some special teams, but I do think he's going to have a breakout season as well and could be a big name to keep watching. There are some other names naturally, the younger guys. I think the ones that you might have to worry about, when I say worry, I ain't worried about them not playing. I'm worrying about them hitting that damn portal. You got to worry about Jelani Watkins. You got to worry about Tyron France. Well, not really Tyron because he's young, but Colin Billiot, Javen Nicholas. Those are the 3 that I'm watching. Yeah, Jelani's doing track over here, and he's in the spring, so he's probably locked in, and you're probably chilling with that. But in the future, we're talking 1 year, 2 years. If you keep putting in talent like this and you keep making them enter a competitive spot, they might up and leave because this is the world that you're in here in college sports. So it'll be interesting to see this portal window open. Watch how people react to it after their pretty much last spring practices here. Everyone's going to be able to submit a name and find a new school if they don't like this situation. And I do think, having 2 practices after your potential spring game might help alleviate that. I don't know. You're going to be interested. If you're going to see anybody leave LSU, it might be out that wide receiver room. But what do I know? Hopefully you keep everybody, because if you keep everybody, the future can continue to grow. Speaking of growing, Solomon Thomas, I'm seeing a lot of growth from him. They're looking at him at left guard a lot. They've been pairing him in the 3s with Carius Kern, who's been at left tackle. Those are 2-year pieces for the offensive line that they are trying to grow and work and develop. Because if you get those guys ready, that's your next Will Campbells. That's your next Emory Jones. That's your next pieces that you can 100% lean on. This is Weston Davis getting active. I think he's locked at that right tackle spot. Been loving the performances from him. He's been very aggressive as well. I will say, on offensive line, the pairing of Tyree Adams and Paul Mubenga left tackle and left guard, it's been pretty efficient. It's been happening a lot, too. So I'd imagine that's going to be the duo that they're trying to keep together on that blind side. They've both gotten action in the SEC as well. They're not just going to be getting thrown out there in their first game, kind of just debuting, feeling some things out. I do think this is going to be a group that you're going to have to keep watching. Let's move over to the DBs here. We just had them. I think Jakeem Jackson, his role is growing day by day. I think that's going to be one of your biggest pieces in this duo with number 8 right here in the cornerback room. Coming from Florida, obviously got some relation with Corey Raymond, recruited by him, coached by him on the staff. He could probably be the other duo piece to Mansour Delane. And everybody wants to know about Ashton Stamps. I do think Ashton Stamps can be a facilitated piece, but I think Jakeem Jackson has been doing a lot. And when I say doing a lot, it's covering athletes in open space. It's putting them on an island. He's coming into LSU and he's instantly getting DB breakups, or excuse me, pass breakups. He's instantly getting into the mix, getting interceptions, turning heads. And another man, DJ Pickett, number 3. That's the guy everybody wants to know. How's he doing? How's he performing? Is he going to be the future? Is he going to hit that portal? Or are they going to be able to develop him in a DBU? They got a million questions for DJ Pickett. I think he is the future. I think he is going to be like a Derek Stingley type piece that you get to just love and watch grow for 3 years at LSU before he inevitably hits the NFL, because he's going to be that much of a talent. Out of this edge room, Gabriel Relaford, another name I think is growing his stock day by day and his role. Yeah, you entered, you went to the portal, grabbed Jack Pyburn, grabbed Patrick Payne, grabbed Butler, but Gabe Relaford has been here all along. He's been next to Savion Jones. He's been next to Braden Swinson. And ISO Joe, number 4, Braden Swinson at NFL Combine, he did give a shout out to Gabe Relaford. They said, who's going to be the future of LSU's edge room? Who's going to be the next Braden Swinson at this university? And Braden Swinson is going to be Gabriel Relaford. I think Gabe has he's done enough to be able to get implemented into the field. Is he going to be a starter? remain to be seen. When you portal in two edges, I think it's going to be tough to keep him off the field, but I do think he'll be playing some good supplemental roles. Now, you got an entire summer, you got an entire fall, and you do got about 2 weeks left of the spring. So it's not over yet. Gabe could still make some damn noise, and a lot of other people can as well, especially in that wide receiver room. Nothing is finalized here. This is just film. This is just us being a fly on the wall, getting to spectate LSU's practice. And we won't be there again for like a week. It'll be a long week. Got spring break next week, but we will be doing our coverage Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate all the likes, the engagement, all the comments, everything on our recent videos. If you get bored this weekend, you know what to do. Go watch some LSU practice highlights. Go watch the pro day highlights. We're going to be working on a pro day breakdown. I'm going to be breaking down Josh Williams and Kyron Lacey a little more in depth, so stay tuned for that. Hit that like button, please, on the way out of the stream. And y'all enjoy your damn weekend. Let me tell you about the games one more time before we walk out. What's on tap for LSU sports today, really? You got beach volleyball, you got tennis, softball, baseball, women's basketball. Baseball, women's basketball are both at 6:30. Women's team plays NC State, and baseball plays Mississippi State. So good luck to them. Hopefully, the women's basketball team can get that much closer to another national championship. We'll see. It'll be an interesting game. You already beat NC State before, boat race them, dog walked them, whipped them all over the place. Let's do it again. Y'all have a good weekend. This has been the Verdant Verdict. I'm your host, Jacob Verda. Hit that thumbs up, please.